On the heavy rains in KwaZulu-Natal, we speak to agrometeorology lecturer at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, Dr. Alistair Clulow, who joins us on the line. Dr. Clulow, good evening and welcome to the Full View. Listening in there to what Vusi Khumalo had to say, that the rains that we are expecting in KwaZulu-Natal over the next few days, the officials, the government officials saying that it's much heavier than what was experienced during April. Why is that the case?
Hi, and good evening to the viewers. At the moment, we have a cut-off low, which is sitting just off our coast, and it is feeding moist air over the country. And this warm, moist air has a lot of water vapor in it, and when water vapor rises and cools in a storm situation, that water vapor condenses and it releases a lot of energy and drives storms even harder, and they become more furious and more violent. And that's one of the reasons that we're getting these quite forceful storms, causing a lot of destruction across the country.
And this is nothing unusual for KwaZulu-Natal.
We do get cut-off lows quite commonly, but they are normally in winter when there's not as much moisture around and temperatures are lower, and they're associated with cold fronts that we get in winter, which are bring sort of snow and rain. And when it happens in winter, it's not as bad as when it happens now, towards spring and summer. That's probably causing the problem at present. Yeah.
And when can we expect the weather to subside, these heavy storms to subside?
Well, a cut-off low can last for between 2 and 6 days commonly. Some of the worst cases of a cut-off low have been the Des Moines floods in 1987, when we had this cut-off low stuck just off South Africa for nearly a week, and we had rainfalls of up to 400 millimeters over a few days in some places on our north KwaZulu-Natal coast.
Okay. Dr. Alistair, just a quick one, just looking at how government has been able to respond to this disaster. From your observation, do you think that government has the right mechanisms in place to respond to disasters, and even with the early warnings?
Yes, we have a very good weather services department, that were able to forecast these storms. And we were made aware of them. But my feeling is that, with climate change, one of the things everyone agrees upon is that our extreme weather events are going to be more extreme and more common. And I think what's happening is we are getting these storm situations that are occurring, and because of climate change, there's more energy and a little bit more violence in the system, when you're talking about storms. And, it's very hard to determine how intense a storm is going to be and whether conditions are going to come together to result in a tornado. So, I think our weather services have done very well, and, maybe as things change with climate change, we need to, look at the way in which we, distribute warnings and be aware that, these intense thunderstorm situations could, result in tornadoes, and we need to make sure that we monitor them closely. And I think in terms of the response, we didn't know a tornado would occur, and obviously the destruction and loss of life has been quite severe. But government is responding, and they're on scene, and they're helping people. I'm afraid with climate change, these are the types of things that we're likely to see more and more of. Extreme weather includes drought, which we've just come from. And, we were complaining, that we can't plant our crops and things like that, to suddenly the situation where we're getting too much rain and, sort of 30 to 40 millimeters, across the province over quite a few days, and then hundreds of millimeters in some places. So, we need to adjust our strategies to cope with these changes.
Appreciate your time, Dr. Alistair Clulow. On top of that, what he just mentioned now, remember that the question of the day is what we're asking you is that in light of the KZN's devastating storms, what more do you think government can do to avoid the loss of life? And of course, you know that you can send us your videos to 664798056, and you can also send us your tweets and use the hashtag #FullView. For now, let's go to a quick ad break. We'll continue with the news after this.